After I did my last video, I still had some more thoughts about anxiety, this whole like rapture talk, and how a lot of people are living with anxiety and how it only perpetuates people's fears, anxiety, and how there's a whole, algorithm happening right now that's perpetuating fear, and how religion also has a lot to do with people seeking connection, but also perpetuating fear. Using people's faith and their ability to want to be led has brought a lot of anxiety in people. And I want to talk deeper just about how um, Rapture Talk has created, I think, a new, we're seeing a lot more nuances in anxiety, depression, mental health in general. So I want to discuss that a little bit. And this is a prime example that we're going to look into this, look at this video from this woman, kind of talk about it a little bit further.
Okay, I'm literally about to crash out. So I am super persuadable, and I've been I've been on Rapture Talk for like the past, I don't know, hour. I have a couple things. First of all, are we not scared? Come on. To think that if the rapture is happening, if the rapture is going to happen in a few days, but they say it's going to happen, that means I only have a few days left with my kids. Even if the rapture isn't going to happen, can you imagine? Like, what if you really did only have a few days left with your kids? Oh my gosh, I'm literally crashing out right now. What the fuck, dude? Okay,
This is sad. Somebody probably who already doesn't have a lot of support, doesn't have a lot of places to lean on, and how the algorithm really was able to place these videos on her timeline to me, and also just show how vulnerable people are, how really vulnerable people are. And I think it's something that we need to look at a little bit further, because these videos and the algorithm just fall into people's laps. And people are lonely, people are isolated, people are scared. And I think that society presents us with so many choices all the time. What are you going to watch? What are you going to eat? Our brains are seeking a simple and yet direct, just kind of like lead me. Some people need to be led. Some people want connection to calm the noise. There's so many different options, but at the end of it, people want to calm the noise. And I think this woman, she even said she's susceptible to easily susceptible, I think she said. And she seems like she's somebody who probably doom scrolls. Okay. This is a lot of people. There's a lot of people right now. Falling for just what they see online. It gives us this false sense of knowing, certainty, predictability, control, even though it's just in our minds. It's just in people's minds. And it just shows you how people can easily fall for what they see on TikTok or any social media. And I think TikTok, social media in general, is amplifying fears by packaging them in short, viral content. Look at what is this video in particular, does this say?
Okay, I'm literally about to crash.
So this one has 62.6 thousand. I keep seeing things about the rapture with people having visions, and now I know I shouldn't be afraid, but I am very much afraid. I'm scared of being left behind to endure the pain, the tribulation. So this one was from looks like 2022. And this is like still during the pandemic during this time. You might think it's post-pandemic, but it's still during the pandemic. So imagine this was the pandemic, this happening, the election. Oh my God. No, I'm clocking it. The pandemic, the election, long COVID, you got COVID, the election, and now this. It's just back to back. Okay, it's just back to back.
Anytime that I hear suspicious noise outside that sounds like a bell or a horn, I am thinking that he caught me slipping. Okay, I'm not ready yet. Please, I'm not ready yet. Or if I'm outside and it looks a little too empty, too quiet outside, I'm thinking I got left behind. I'm like, God, please don't. I'm about to hit my knees. Please, please come back. Always on edge about the rapture. Anytime that I hear that tornado siren, I'm thinking, how do we know it's a tornado siren? Jesus? Anybody else have rapture anxiety? I'm talking about anytime that I hear suspicious noise outside.
Yeah, Christian talk, Jesus talk, it really is perpetuating fear. And the more people are in fear, the easier they will be led. Okay? Dumb people down, create fear, create anxiety, and then they'll believe anything. They'll fall for anything. Okay? And notice how all this happened during the same time as the whole thing with Jimmy Kimmel. Okay? Freedom of speech and how it can be used to perpetuate, how it can to perpetuate good things, how it can be used to manipulate the use of just free speech in all these different spaces. I think nowadays freedom of speech is kind of used to hurt, sometimes to heal, to manipulate, to show who really has power. Okay. TikTok is a way for people to have freedom of speech. It really is. Oh, I guess this one won't play.
I don't know how I got there, but I see there's a lot of misconceptions. So I want to clear some things up if you're having rapture anxiety. First thing I want to be abundantly clear about is that no man knows the time or the place. It even says that Jesus doesn't even know when the rapture is going to be taken place. With that being said, I just hate the amount of fear mongering that comes with rapture and rapture anxiety. So let's talk about it a little further. Some people are so set that the rapture is going to happen today that they have sold their cars, they have emptied their bank accounts, which, is fine. That is their choice. Even if the rapture were to happen today, the truth of the matter is every single day we are closer to being with our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So we should live every single day as if we are going to be raptured. So whatever that looks like to you, whether that's spreading the good news, whether that's, being nice to people, being kind, being loving, blessing them in different ways, you should do that every day regardless. We should always live like Christ, not just because we think this event is going to happen. The rapture was never meant to be an event that you're like, okay, let's just hunker down with our family in our little circle and we're just going to be lifted up together. No, our thing as Christians, the thing that we should try to do is we want hell to lose as many people as we can. So,
This video is 6 minutes. We ain't watching all that. But I think that we need to distinguish faith versus fear. Okay. Healthy spiritual practice is kind of like she was saying, hope, community values, and fear driven ones that are panic, shame, paranoia. Okay. I think that religious trauma is resurfacing because we're seeing more people be divisive about religion. Either you're, you know, on one side of the fence or you're not. You're pro life or you're not. Okay. Either you're for gay marriage or you're not. Jesus says you shouldn't be. So if you're not on this side, then you're with the devil. It's so divided. And I think as much as people want to have community, it's almost like you have to choose sides nowadays. Okay. And I think these algorithms on social media um, is spreading fear-based content faster and faster than hope-based content. I think because fear-based content gets more attention and people feel like hope-driven content is boring. Some people might, follow people who pray every morning. You get up with TikTok and you have your prayer with your favorite prayer warrior. But how popular are those videos compared to how all of this rapture talk happened? Okay. Now imagine if all that same energy that was put into the fear-based content was put into maybe the morning prayer calls, all of that. You'll never see that. Okay, because of the divisiveness, the fear-based content, the drama of it all is really what is highlighted. Okay, and we have young, impressionable people, especially teens, that may be internalizing this as truth. And I've heard people say that they don't want to grow up because they're so afraid of what's for them to grow up into: bills, student loans, responsibility. And it's sad to hear children say that they don't want to grow up anymore. Like, what do they have to look forward to? Okay. But looking at more of the mental health aspects of it, rapture talk can lead to panic attacks. And you're in this like cognitive dissonance, trying to trust yourself, trust what you're seeing on the algorithm, trust what your friends are saying. Some of y'all have friends who got caught up in it. Okay. Some of you guys had to disconnect from friends and family over these years due to religious beliefs, due to political beliefs. And so you're left feeling disconnected. We are in a loneliness pandemic, and people are looking for connection. And I think that all of this talk about the end of times is only creating more fear and shifting people's beliefs into ones of questioning, is this really going to happen? Am I going to live another day? Is this stuff really true? You have I did the first video of people who um, honestly believe that this stuff is going to happen to them. As someone who has lived through many raptures, said the prayer of salvation at every call. But yeah, there's so much religious trauma. People who were shackled by um, these strict beliefs. Religious trauma needs to be talked about more. Yeah, say it out loud. Talk about it. And here we go. Some people say I blame the Left Behind series for a little bit of childhood rapture. I think I heard somebody talking about this, the Left Behind series. Damn, what was I listening to earlier? And then there's people who were, essayed by people in the church who are trying to heal from that. Religious trauma is real. One of the most important unseen breaking of cycles for my children is never bringing them into the religious anxiety I grew up into in my life. So we all collectively had anxiety about whether or not we're actually saved, huh? Let me look up this Left Behind series. I was watching something earlier.
And it's reminded me of one of the most embarrassing phases of my life. When I was like 13 or 14, I became obsessed with the Left Behind book series, like the one specifically written for kids and teenagers. It's about the people that are left behind during the rapture. And I just loved those books. Like it was about like good versus evil, like the Antichrist was there. I know now that these books are like essentially Christian religious propaganda, but I was a dumb kid, so I didn't know anything about any of that. But I like really couldn't get enough of them and just was obsessed. Did anyone else read these books and not realize until much later how problematic they are?
Just, think about that, how you're young, impressionable, your mind is a sponge, and how a lot of people were given these books to feed them what adults want them to believe, and how much that created anxiety and fear as a child. Okay. Luckily, I never read these books. I was reading the Babysitter Club, the Boxcar Children, Nancy Drew. I never read any of these books. But yeah, I think they were probably very damaging.
I know that Rapture is trending. I don't think it's going to happen, but let's just say it does. Will I be able to watch the Left Behind series? I haven't seen it. Can I watch that after y'all? Can I watch the Left Behind series? And is it worth watching? Is it?
But yeah, just know that there's a lot of trauma. I wonder why some of these videos will not play. But how are you guys dealing with the trauma of this? Do you feel like it has brought up religious trauma for you? How are you coping with all of this? Do you find yourself doom scrolling? Okay. Or were you somebody who had never heard of what Rapture Talk is until my little video? But you have to think about what you are putting in your mind, what you're reading, listening to, scrolling. All that stuff is feeding you. It can be feeding you good things, it could be feeding you bad things. But I want to encourage people who are experiencing anxiety around politics, around the rapture, about things that they see online. Reality test it. Is what I am feeling, what I am thinking a fact, or is it something that my mind is my trauma brain is trying to, convince me to believe? What are the facts? What's in front of my face instead of what sometimes my mind is trying to trick me into? Okay. Recognize when it's time to put down the phone, sis. When it's time to put down the phone, step away, go touch grass. All right. Go take a shower. But you don't know how much time you're really spent on your phone because I feel like in the land of TikTok, time just melts away. And before you know it, you've been sitting on your phone for 2 hours doom scrolling, bed rotting. We need to put down these phones. We need to live a little. And I think people need to stop rushing to feed into whatever trend, propaganda is happening. Capitalism is at the root of a lot of this. All these videos are becoming more popular. This algorithmic thing that's happening is because people see like, oh, I can make money off of talking about Rapture Talk. I can make money talking about Charlie Kirk. It's all about capitalism. And sometimes you don't care about the message that they're putting out because at the end of the day, I'm collecting a check. I am making money off of your fear. Okay, it doesn't matter because my bank account is looking pretty hefty. I don't have to deal with the consequences of my words, but I do think eventually, hopefully, cyber laws, crimes will catch up to the times. And some of these people who are putting out these videos that harm people will have to pay a price. But it will probably take a long time before that really happens because nowadays, freedom of speech, people at times can say and do whatever they want online without any true consequences. All right. But there's my thoughts. I want to do a couple of videos on Rapture Talk, anxiety, recognizing what you're feeling, how you're feeling. Okay. Learning grounding techniques. I want to encourage, critical media literacy, reminding people algorithms are designed to keep you hooked, not to tell you truth. And let's reframe. Instead of saying, am I ready for it to end? How do I live for today? Notice how Rapture TikTok affected your thoughts, your mood, your behavior. And let's talk about it. Let's normalize and talk about healing from religious trauma. All right? Make sure you guys tap in, you hit that like button, hype up this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.